This podcast episode is sponsored by WePrintWraps.com. Less risk, no overhead, wholesale printing. Use offer code ALLWRAPPEDUP at checkout and receive 10% off your purchase. Offer ends January 31st, 2018. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of All Wrapped Up. Today's guest went to school at New Mexico State to become a golf pro with a specialty in marketing. He's built companies like Auto Vinyl Solutions and Icon Wraps. He's now back creating custom tools for the wrap industry. Please welcome Adam Shipp. What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to All Wrapped Up Podcast. We'll be interviewing industry-leading wrap companies to share tips, tricks, stories, and more. So today's guest, we got Adam Shipp. How you doing today, Adam?
Doing good.
Where have you been the last year or so?
Working in marketing work for in the wheel industry, and learning social media marketing on a grand scale, and I don't know, I've been doing everything in a totally different way, I guess you could say. Huge budgets for SEMA and building SEMA booths to hiring photographers, video guys, trying to figure out how to we target multiple different kinds of markets across multiple scales. Just really getting really involved with the automotive industry and really building a lot of contacts. It's pretty much what I've been doing. Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. It's been a wild ride.
Nice.
Say that.
Nice. You stepped away from the vinyl industry for a little while, and you kind of just mentioned you got into the wheel industry. How did you fall into that?
Well, I mean, back in 2014, 15-ish, when I owned Icon and Auto Vinyl Solutions and all that, and then there was a big pricing war and had a bunch of investors, and they decided to fold the companies. I had a really good friend, and his name's Tico Salahian. He owns Giavanna Wheels, and he's kind of one of the, I guess you call him the godfather of the wheel industry. And so after, my company folded and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, they said, he needed some help with online marketing, social media, and stuff like that, which is what I had done, I guess, really well in the wrap industry. And so I got to work from home and just kind of dive into all of his stuff and rebuild a lot of his social media and a lot of his marketing, and just kind of change directions of what they're doing at that company. And that's how it happened. I mean, back in 2014, really 13, it started. I got to know Dico really well. I had a shop in California where I was distributing vinyl, and we used to go have tacos on Tuesday mornings and shoot the shit and discuss stuff. And he always, I pitched him the idea of having his own line of vinyl. I knew all the people at Avery, and that's when I said, hey, let's go find a vinyl company to do a co-branded, I guess, line of vinyl, which is how the Giavanna Colors came about. Pitched it to Avery, and Abby and everybody at Avery was really excited about it. And so for 2 years, we had our own custom colors. I named all of them, from Nero Black Pearl to Azure Blue and Grigio Gray, and there was Cocoa Brown, and Cielo Blue was the other one. They're all named after Italian names, kind of with the Giavanna theme. And they sold really well, and that's kind of how I got to really know the owner of Giavanna Wheels. Yeah.
So what did you help do? Just basically build up their social media accounts, Instagram, Facebook, following, and whatnot?
I mean, I guess you could say, Dico always says that I'm like the jack of all trades. So I get thrown into the middle of it. I mean, he had a marketing company at the time, which was, the website wasn't SEO'd correctly. It needed to be rebuilt. It was built on a custom platform. It wasn't built right. They ended up going away and hired a couple of different web designers over time. And we went in and finally got the right kind of solution, I guess, and built a new website. Day-to-day operations, which is my day-to-day is like when we post on social media. Actually, I should start with, they started with 20,000 followers. This is a company that's 20 years old in the wheel industry, and they had very few followers, which is very rare. If you look at like who their competitors are, the Vossens and the Forgiatos of the world, I mean, they're over 1 million.
Right.
And so, but he sells more wheels quantity day to day than both those companies combined, which is something a lot of people don't understand. So, I mean, there are literally 1 million cars on the road with his wheels on. No joke. We've done all the market studies and everything else. And so when you think about that, you're like, well, wait a minute, you know, his social media didn't match. And so I went to him and I said, you know, this is something we need to get, you know, in the 21st century, and we need to really kind of ramp up what we're doing with social media and marketing and things like that. And so we started targeting social media. I built a Facebook page, there's 220,000 followers on Facebook. We have multiple Instagram accounts. The main one, which would be Giavanna Wheels, is like 130-some thousand, which I built in 1 year, from 20,000 to 130-some thousand, all real followers. Our average post like 3,000 or 4,000 likes photo, 50,000 views on a video. I mean, it just depends. But we have GFG Wheels, which is I think 60K. We own Giavanna, which is another one, which is like 25K. Tico himself, I run his Instagram. He's like 70 or 80,000. And then I do his wife's, which is one of the Real Housewives of Orange County, which is a whole nother conversation we can have a different day, where you're seeing like 1.6 million views a week for that account.
That must be a fun account to look at.
It's a totally different strategy. But, and really, like for Giavanna, like just to kind of cap off what we do, I mean, we're looking at like we do print advertising and marketing budgets. We were doing a lot of print advertising when I first came on, and I'm like, you need to stop all this. You know, these projects was $30,000 a month, and I said, so what do you get out of that?
Why wouldn't they dump more money into a more lucrative website over social media?
Well, we have a more lucrative website now, but it was kind of a combined everything. Like he had a dinosaur website, had very few followers. He had a lot of print advertising, which is, because you got to remember, like when he started, nobody really was on the internet.
No such thing.
They were taking orders by fax,
right?
You know, and it was working. And he built up this monstrosity of a company out of nothing that really was kind of like the leader in the wheel game for years. I mean, if you think about it, the old MTV, you know, shows, they were all using Giavanna Wheels and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
and
Pimp My Ride.
You know, Pimp My Ride, West Coast Customs, like all of those shows, like he was always on, and he was doing, at the time, everybody was reading, you know, Super Street and Dub Magazine and everything else. I mean, the owner of Dub was his driver, Miles, back in the day, and so like we have a strong tie there. And I mean, it's a different world than the rap industry. Let's put it that way. I mean, I talk to people on a daily basis, you know, whether it's Miles or DuPont or Car and Driver, Road and Track. Like I talk to all their marketing guys or their CEOs and people like that. And I mean, their marketing budgets are insane. You know, they're looking at social media numbers that are like the whole entire rap industry into one day. You know what I mean?
Right.
Will be combined into some of those numbers. The strategy is different. You know, they have teams of people. Like we have a team of people that work on social media that I built. We can do things that I guess other people in the industry don't. In the rap industry, for example, they aren't there yet. You know, there's not enough money in the rap industry. The margins aren't good enough yet to be able to allow for that kind of stuff to happen. You know, when I sit at the SEMA booth, for example, and we spend $200,000 to go to SEMA. We build a whole black and white theme, and the cars are wrapped half black, half white. And if the one girl's wearing black, the one girl's white, and we got white wheels and black wheels on one side, and the carpet split. And we're selling, like literally, the people walking our booth and still write checks for $500,000. This is my order. You know, I want XYZ containers.
Wow.
I mean, that's just not something that happens in the rap industry. Maybe some of the commercial guys that are ordering, you know, massive amounts of vinyl, I guess you could say, but it's a different ballgame. You know, the margins are really healthy. It's starting to get worse, but I mean, the margins are really real.
Well, it's real fast paced. It seems like it's real fast paced too. It's kind of, things can turn in a dime with the rim industry. Someone could come up with a new concept or whatnot, and that's going to be the hottest thing now for a little while, you know?
Right. I mean, like, but at the same time, it's not always about because there's only so many ways you can design a wheel.
Right.
And so what it really becomes is trying to build a marketing, I guess, plan, for example. So when we did the half black, half white, which we called the two-face designs, I came up with this two-face idea. Deco's like, let's do it black and white because he loves black and white. And that's how it all happened. But now you're seeing a lot of wraps in the industry that are all that way. But we were kind of like the trendsetters. Like, we literally went to SEMA with a fleet car, with 3 cars in a row, you know, Ferrari 488, Rolls-Royce Dawn, and we had an F63 on a wide-body prior design kit. I mean, that's like $700,000-$800,000 worth of cars sitting there in a row, all wrapped perfectly, half black, half white.
Who'd you use for that particular install for that SEMA show?
So those installs are done. We've used a lot of different people. We've used the guys from Paint is Dead in the past. But logistically, like when you're building a SEMA booth, you try to use somebody that basically is up the street and willing and able.
Right.
It's all sponsored by Avery. Thank you, Avery, for that. They send us, you know, whatever we need. Obviously, we've had our own line of vinyl, and we have a really good tie with them. So they send us the vinyl, and they'll send us some extra. And usually, we use that to leverage out, you know, the install price. And we'll use Elevated Auto Concepts does everything for them. It's just because it's kind of a comfortability thing. It's like they're friends with the owner, and when you're sending, you know, these kind of cars, they know how to work on these kinds of cars. They've been doing it for him for years.
Right.
It's just, it's easy. Like we put them on a flatbed, we send them a Pasadena, they come back wrapped, and everything's done, and they do a good job.
That's
awesome.
Just
what it is. We've always tried to change, and we've had issues. And when you're doing these kinds of installs, I mean, again, like these cars are on the Real Housewives of Orange County. You can see the cars literally driving down the street on Bravo TV. I was on the airplane the other day, and they're showing these cars, and they're driving around on, you know, Jerry's blogs and Entertainment Tonight, things like that. So these installs have to be, you know, perfect, and Elevated takes the time, I guess, to do it. And that's the only reason we use them. You know, they're good friends.
That's cool.
That's pretty much what we do. I mean, again, it's just different from what the rest of the rap industry kind of looks at, but I mean, I'm kind of self-taught, I guess, in the wheel industry. I've done a lot of things since I've been there that, you know, people have never done before. Things with social media, especially, that are kind of like pioneering what's going on and really like trying to target massive amounts of people and try to target new markets.
Right.
I guess is a really good way to kind of describe that.
Do you get approached by different vendors to kind of, you know, try to get the secrets out on how you're making this all work for Giovanni?
Yes. I mean, I get approached about it. I mean, often, but again, like I'm dealing in the world where like I'm a small fish compared to some of these other guys. You know what I mean? I've only been doing it for a year and a half, whereas these other guys have been doing it for so long. I mean, if you look at like Boston Wheels, like I think Boston Wheels is the 9th largest automotive Instagram account in the world.
Really, Boston?
1.7 million, or maybe it's up to 2 million by now. I haven't looked lately. Yeah, they're definitely the leaders of social media in the wheel industry.
That's cool. Give us your background on how you fell into the rap industry.
In 2009, 10-ish, I was in school at New Mexico State in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I was engaged to my wife, who's now my wife, but I was going to school there to be a golf pro and like specialty in marketing. And I always liked cars. You know, my first car was an Acura Integra, the Axis 7 wheels, Fast and Furious style.
Yep.
You know, like Fast and Furious first one came out when I was 15.
Right.
16. So I grew up in that kind of like
era.
You know, let's go buy an Integra, let's put the rims, the exhaust, let's slam it. And it was the cool thing to do. You know, like I've had 15, 20 cars in my life. Most people that know me know I always have some kind of crazy car. But, you know, and it started with that, like, passion and love for cars. So when I was in school, you know, I was always a really good golfer, played at the University of South Carolina, and then ended up at New Mexico State after a couple of years and did some other things, sold real estate for a while. But really, like, I bought a WRX. My wife thought I was crazy. I was, like, 25 at the time. She's like, what are you buying? It's a little kid's car? Like, I'll never forget that. She thought I was nuts. And so when you get a WRX, this is like the first time they'd come back out with a sedan after having the hatchback. And I had like one of the very first ones. And, you know, it's like a new car. And everybody loves those cars. And my first Subaru, I had just sold my GTI, which is off slammed and rims and all that stuff. But
I had 2 of those when I was growing up. I loved them.
yeah, I had a Mark 7, and I remember I took it to New Speed, had it tuned when I lived in California, and I had one of the first Mark 7s. It was like 2007.
Wow.
Loved that thing. I loved that car. But my wife also at the time was like, again, you have a kid's car.
Right. 2.
When are you going to grow up?
Yeah, 2 doors.
But,
not family oriented.
no,
Not the best
but I mean,
of car.
25. I wasn't thinking about kids.
Yeah, right.
So I had this WRX, and so like I remember like I was always on the forums, and I've always been involved in like all the online stuff. And so I came across some posts in some forum after I traded out my stock wheels, and most of these people listening have been down that road where you're like, all right, let me sell these stock wheels because I hate them. Got some other wheels, black wheels, and I lowered the car and put an exhaust on it, and you're like, well, okay, I can either do like a tune or turbos, or bigger turbos, or whatever, but that's a lot of money. So came across the post, some guy was talking about some kind of vinyl he did for the interior, because the interior on the Subaru is not that nice.
Right.
So he did like a little blog, or not, like a forum post about wrapping a piece of interior. And so I was in business school, and I was like, all right, well, let me order some vinyl. So I ordered some vinyl, wrapped some pieces, and then I'm like, this is pretty cool. It's interesting. Let me see who sells this and where it comes from. And it was a 3M product, and I'll never forget this. I called like the main 3M distributor and told them that I owned a company that did interior design and used a lot of vinyl. And I used my dad's LLC tax number and got them literally to send me pricing and set up with an account. An account purchase, a credit line, everything. And so then I'm like, all right, well, let me sell some of this stuff on eBay. So I started selling it on eBay. I knew nothing about like online sales. I was trying to build a website. First one was a disaster. I called the company Auto Vinyl Solutions, AVS. And I set up I filed with the state, and I had no idea about taxes and CPAs. I didn't even know what that was. I definitely didn't have an attorney, but I started selling products online, and before you know it, I had like one order. And I was like, oh my God, I got an order. So somebody bought some vinyl, and I basically would convert down pieces of vinyl like Retro Styling does, and I would ship it out. And like, I didn't know shipping tubes. I'll never forget, I went to Home Depot. I'm like, do you have any shipping tubes? And they're like, no. And then I'm like, what about those carpet rolls? The big long carpet rolls?
Yeah.
So I'll never forget, I went there and I used to take their old cores of those big carpet rolls. I'd bring them home. I borrow a buddy's truck, and I would literally sit there with a saw, and I would saw them off to the right side, and then I would just like tape the ends and put the vinyl inside and ship it out to people.
Hope to God it doesn't get wet or something.
I try to use like every single thing possible to like make containers to ship stuff in that wouldn't get damaged. Because I mean, how do you ship a roll or a piece of vinyl?
Right.
But at the time, vinyl was selling, and really like there was no written rule book. So like I would sell, like a lot of people love this, like a 5-foot piece of carbon fiber was $200. So when you think about it, you're like, wow. Like now it's probably 75, 80, maybe $100 the most of 3M carbon fiber. But at the time it was 200. So like there was plenty of margin, and it was healthy to sell that product. And over time, I mean, I moved to Texas. My wife and I got married, and by then I had, maybe 10 orders a week. I finally built a website. This is like web designer number 3 that I had. Because again, I didn't know how to build a website. It wasn't like today when you have a WordPress and you can just go Google how to use WordPress and you can figure out how to build a website, especially not an e-commerce website. Like a true e-commerce website, they're not easy to build, even if you build it on WordPress.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that for a fact.
There's a lot of coding involved in that e-commerce
websites.
Coding,
and then you remember like doing vinyl websites is a whole other conversation. So eventually, like I had, enough orders, like 30 orders a week. And I was living in Texas by then. I was working at a golf course, and I was an intern, you could say, trying to get my licensing done for the PGA. And I worked for a guy by the name of Tommy Fricano, who a lot of people in the industry know, and now works for Avery. But I worked for him, and I used to like I don't know, every day we would like shoot shit about business, and he would always ask me questions about it. And eventually, with me answering my phone throughout my work day at the golf course, I kind of like grew the company to the point where I was like, all right, I'm going to go for it. So I left the golf industry and opened a shop. Again, I had no idea how to open a shop. I mean, before I was selling vinyl out of my house and, doing $50,000 a month of sales out of my house, or my apartment, I should say. And if Tommy's listening, you probably will remember this. A lot of the guys in the industry that are kind of older will remember that. That's probably in 2012-ish. I opened with the official AVS, and I was the first guy to have a new Avery contract. 3M wrote me a special distribution contract so I could just sell 1080 films. I remember the first time the 3M guys ever came to my shop, and we were shooting the shit about colors, and I was like, man, everybody loves this new color. It's like this Lamborghini color. It's like the satin white pearl color. And before you know it, they made it. I'll never forget that. But, and so growing this business and working at it and learning about online marketing. But my main goal was always to target, my goal wasn't really, if you look at the rap industry as a whole, there's a certain number of people in the rap industry that make up all the sales of vinyl, right? So
Right.
What you have to do as a distributor and try to pioneer new business is you have the main sellers, Grimco, Metro Styling, and it used to be me, which was AVS, and then eventually Icon. So we all were giving up this pool of people that buy vinyl. And rather than trying to just dip into the pool and steal business from one distributor to the other, you have to try to engineer new business. And where the rest of the business is not in the, say, 100,000 people that are in the vinyl industry. It's in the 400 million people that live in the U.S.
Right.
So a lot of the time I was trying to educate the public. I was probably one of the only guys that had a full media staff. I hired a guy who was one of Tommy's friends at the time, on staff doing that. And that's all he did was do photography. I shot every color of vinyl, full on, high definition, put them online. And I did forget that at one point when I first opened my company at AVS, I didn't have any money, but I knew I wanted Tommy to come work for me. And so I forewent taking any kind of salary for a while, and I paid his salary. And he left the golf industry and came to work for me, and he was my right-hand guy. And he pretty much managed the staff and the orders, and I was basically tasked with growing the industry and growing the business.
Wow.
That's what we did. Within, that was 2012, 2013, I started pushing hexes. I went to California. That didn't really work out. I came back to Texas and built a lot of debt trying to sell a lot of hexes. And I ended up taking on investors. We built Icon fast. It's probably the fastest company I've ever built.
How long did it take you to build Icon?
Well, since I already built AVS, we never really closed AVS. We ran the two of them parallel. I had 9 sales channels, and I would sell $2 million a year on eBay, $1 million a year on Amazon, and then the rest of it would be sold on. And then we started a wholesale division. We had 2 eBay accounts, and an Icon and an AVS account. We had multiple Amazon accounts, different tax IDs, and we had a big inventory of vinyl. And
so most of your sales came from just from Amazon and eBay?
That's just the retail side. Then we had the entire wholesale side. So and then I had a website too. My website would do 100, 200,000 a month. I mean, we were pushing fast. And the way we were pushing fast, what happened was, there was a price war.
Yeah.
Chris at Metro. Hi, Chris. I'm sure he's listening. But at the time, it was hard because when you're selling on eBay and Amazon, you're really trying to be the lowest price always comes up first. People
Right.
buy on price. To my own demise, I started kind of a price war with him. I was trying to put him out of business. He was trying to put me out of business. And it started kind of devaluing the product. And so that's what happened. But, when you have staff and a lot of people that have been to my old building and overhead and things like that, you got to pay the bills. And so you're trying to sell as much product as you can to make as much margin as you can and play the volume game.
Right.
And so it really didn't work out in the end, because at the end of the day, the people that I had to really compete with were the sellers and the Grimcos of the world who they could have bought me over 100 times, you know?
Yeah, it's a different playing field now. What do you think you would have done different? Let's just say Icon still was successful at this point, 2018. Would you think you'd be up with the Fellers and Grimco crowd, or do you think it'd still be?
We have to understand, I mean, Grimco's like 100-year-old company, you know, and they've been in the game so long. I mean, a lot of people don't understand, like, they sell substrates and they sell, you know, the signboards, and they own contracts with the cities to distribute, you know, street signs and reflective vinyl through 3M. And they have these contracts that, like, unless you get those kind of contracts, you can't get that big. Like, unless
Right.
you take on venture capital and get a big, you know, influx of cash to be able to, you know, build 80 locations. And with the shipping thing and the evolution of Amazon is really like, when Amazon came about is when we all started to expect our stuff next day.
Right.
And the cost to ship stuff next day, I mean, shipping a roll of vinyl, a lot of people don't understand. I mean, ground, I know shipping backwards and forwards. I mean, ground out of Texas to California is about $25 when I had, you know, all my discounts in place, and probably about the same to Florida. And because I was centrally located, I could get ground, you know, 2 to 3 days California, 2 to 3 days to Florida. Overnight, like $200.
Just because of the
It's
size
like,
of the
it's
box.
impossible to compete. Like, how do you compete? Because, I mean, a lot of the people listening, are like, you guys all have shops, and at the end of the day, you may like to buy from Metro or one of the other distributors that's selling online, or you may be buddies, but if you have a car to do and you have a time frame to do it, and there's a Fellers down the street or a Grimco, I guarantee you 100% you're going to go to them first.
Right.
Because they're probably going to have it in stock. If they don't have it in stock, they're going to have it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And in Grimco's case, they deliver it. So it's like, why would you? It's really hard to compete with that business. You can't unless you build kind of the same model that they have.
Right.
And they always have everything in stock. I mean, their stock, you know, at the height of it, I probably had 500,000 at the most in stock, maybe 200,000 or 300,000, but a lot of it would be brought in. These guys have 200,000 in stock in every single location.
Right.
So it's kind of like, you know, it's very hard to compete with that. But, you know, I again was trying to pioneer a market. I was doing things marketing wise that were a lot different than what everybody else does. And that made me successful at it. But, you know, you got to make money.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
That's the name of the game. If you ain't making it, time to move on, you know?
Right. And yeah, for sure. And I mean, I know everybody at all the manufacturing levels, for every manufacturer. I mean, I was the first guy to ever bring Arlon to market. I was going to bring KPMF to market. Chris took that one after Icon closed. But, you know, I still know all the guys at KPMF. We're still friends. I still talk to them at all the trade shows. They make a great product. You know, there's some things that I would have done differently with that brand, but it is what it is. You know, there's one thing to be said, like, I was really good at was launching a brand. Like, when I launched Arlon, everybody wanted it. Like, everybody wanted it. It's just their manufacturing. They had some manufacturing problems, and I couldn't get it fast enough.
Was this in the beginning stages of Arlon or recently?
This is the beginning stages of Ultimate Premium Plus coming to market.
Yeah.
This is back when Thought had the colors, and Ultimate Premium Plus is going to be launched into the market. I met with them at Icon, and, you know, I made the first initial order. Fellers and Grimco did not carry it. Metro, I don't think carried it. They may have. But, I mean, I really, like, I took a photographer. We shot all the colors. We did videos. I was pushing it. I was, you know, putting cars and trade shows with, like, at SEMA, trucks wrapped in Arlon. Like, this is back when nobody was really wrapping things. I did the first Arlon training classes were done at my facility. I called Austin at Paint is Dead and said, let's do an Arlon class there. We did that. That's when we used to do the old, like, speed wrap challenge, which I think are still on Instagram. And we would see, like, 12 guys could wrap an M3 in 30 minutes. I mean,
what is the one that holds the fastest? It's that Mazda, right? I think that was the fastest
yep,
wrap.
I was there.
Yep.
It was at
like
201 Wrap at Austin's place,
Yeah.
and that was all Paint is Dead guys at the time. I think it was all Paint is Dead guys. It was mostly Paint.
Wasn't it that copper? Was it a copper color?
It's the copper color.
Yeah. I remember that.
Vinyl Bros, I think, owns that. Don't quote me on that one, but I remember we did that car, but I mean, you had a bunch of really good installers and killed it.
Yeah,
Fast.
I thought that was
Uh,
real cool.
I did Tommy's M3 at my facility at Icon. And that's a little harder car than the Mazda. But,
Yeah.
there's something to be said. I mean, if you guys can get 12 really good installers together, I mean, you guys can do a car in an hour. Back to, I mean, like, that's where I come from in the vinyl industry. A lot of guys that are still in the industry, I mean, have worked for me or I've worked with them or I'm friends with. I mean, you never really leave the vinyl industry. Even when I went to the wheel industry, I mean, I still talk to everybody daily.
Yeah.
Being one of the original guys to vinyl and kind of like on the, like, and really like at the forefront of like internet stuff, a lot of the guys that are in the industry now were my customers. So like I knew everyone when they were first starting out, or when they were wrapping out of the garage, or when they were just starting their company and their company didn't, it was tiny and they didn't really know what they were doing. They were just getting into the industry. And now I look at these guys and I'm like, oh crap, like you guys have multiple facilities, some of them have multiple locations, and they've really done a really good job, at their own businesses, which is really good. However, there are a lot of guys that I wish would be better.
Well, how come you didn't transition into opening up some type of wrap shop? I mean, you were knowledgeable on the material and successfully were able to.
A lot of people don't know this, but I can actually install vinyl. But I can't, of course. All my cars are always done by me most of the time, unless something like I don't have time or whatever. But I'm pretty famous with all the guys that used to work for me. Like I would always take, whatever manufacturer was sending me something, I would literally take it out in the back, wrap with it, play with it, test it, like do my own testing to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would send it around to certain guys in the industry. Chris Depping was one of them. Austin, Kevin Kemp, Sharif, like those kind of guys. Like I would literally send them pieces of stuff that like nobody had ever had. I'd give them NDAs and we would go to town on, how does this new Arlon work? What's up with it? Or like we wanted to make gloss carbon for years. And a lot of people don't know this, but like LG had one of the best gloss carbon fibers in the world.
Really?
And we tested it. The problem was that clear coat kept coming off of it. So like I used to sell it and I used to sell the crap out of it. And it was this amazing product, but like you put it on and you come back, 3 days later and you're like, or you leave it out in the sun and you're like, where'd the clear coat go? It would just peel off, So I would always test everything that I had. Like I started off wrapping interior pieces in my car, on my WRX back in 2009, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always kind of, played with all the vinyls. If there's ever an issue, I've probably seen more issues other than the Fellers and Metro and the people from Grimco. I mean, I literally know most of the things, like issues that occur with vinyl. Because when you sell that many orders and you get enough people, like we had people every day that would call and say they have a problem with their vinyl. I know who to call. Whether it's Molly at Avery or the right people at the 3M lab or whatever it is, if there actually is an issue, because, when you're selling the product, you got to find the right people to make sure that gets fixed.
Well, this was also like at the beginning stages of, 1080 and color change and, the technology probably wasn't 100%. It was probably just put it out to market,
really
test it.
Changed.
Yeah, I mean, but the test, they need to have some type of platform to judge where, how the material is going to work, so what better way to give it to you guys and be like, sell it, and if there's issues, we'll deal with it after, but put it out to market,
Yeah, but I would never sell. I wouldn't do that. Like, if people gave me stuff or a manufacturer said something like that, like, I wouldn't push it out to people. That wasn't my business. Like, my business, I was trying to kill people with service. I was trying to kill it in the marketing game. I was never really trying to just sell as many boxes as I could. Obviously, I was trying to do that, but I mean, that wasn't my goal. Like, I wasn't trying to, take crap product and shove it down your throat, but I would see a lot of issues. But remember, if you're buying a product from me, the first person you call is the first person you pay, which is me.
Right.
I'm buying it from the manufacturer, so I'm the distributor. So I have to deal with all that customer service. I mean, we would have, I don't know, I don't remember the numbers, hundreds of returns The
Really?
gloss black, the modeling in the gloss black that 3M had for years. That was always a big issue, because the argument always is, well, wait a minute, I ordered a piece of gloss black, it came and it's all cloudy,
Right.
or it's got these spiraling marks in it, But I'm like, well, just heat it out. And they're like, well, I just paid you $100 for this. I want it to be perfect. And that was always the argument.
Now, you're saying like 100 orders a week or 100 orders a day that you would deal with returns or issues?
Hundreds of orders, like 100 orders a month, maybe
Oh.
I don't know, maybe less, maybe.
That's
it
not.
Just depends on what month it is.
Yeah, that's not bad for the amount of volume you're selling. I mean, that's probably average even now.
I literally had staff members. That's all they did.
Yeah.
Dwayne, love you. That's all he did. Ty was involved in a lot of that too. A lot of people know these guys. I mean, and that's the thing. Like my staff also, like I would give them vinyl. Like Ty, who used to work for me, Ty Watson, who I forgot his Instagram. Shout out to Ty. But I mean, he would literally take pieces of like, remember we get these returns, they're no use. I got to pay for them out of pocket. And he would go like wrap his toilet in gold chrome, or like wrap a surfboard. Or I think at one point he wrapped like most of his house. And I would let him go to town on social media. Like they'd be all over social media. They're talking to all my customers. And it's a different mantra than what most of the other distributors are doing today. You see that a lot in the wheel industry, actually. I do. Like the Giavanna wheels, like all of our guys are all on social media. I got guys, there's guys in the warehouse at Giavanna wheels that sell more wheels than most sales guys. They're just active on social media. The guy that puts together the forged wheels,
yeah,
like he posts all that stuff on his own account, and he gets people all the time that are buying stuff.
that's awesome.
And he makes money off of it. They pay him out of like a small percentage of all those sales too that he makes, because he's just making sales.
I mean, when you give back to your employees too with something as minute as that, like, hey, start an Instagram page. Maybe you might get like 1,000 followers, but let's just put it in reality. If you sell one wheel set, I mean, what's an average cost of a? I mean, on the lower end.
20 started like $300 a wheel for MSRP. 26s are $700-800 a wheel. But then when you get into the Ford stuff, like what that guy's posting, I mean, they're minimum $1,000 per wheel.
Yeah, so I mean, for him to get a little kickback just to start an Instagram, it costs him nothing.
Correct. But he's already posting on his own social media anyway. So like, why not post and make some money out of it?
Right.
It's a different world in the wheel industry. We have a fleet of exotic cars that are all wrapped. They literally travel around the shows that our owner drives, and a lot of the guys in the shop get to drive. Like when I go out to California, like I've literally driven the craziest cars you could ever think of. I mean, one time I took the Paint is Dead guys out, and we wrapped a P1, a 918 Spider, 2 Huracans, a Bentley GT. There was a Corvette, like one of the first Z06s. I'm forgetting the car. Oh, and Maserati Ghibli. It's actually the owner's daughter's, who was 16 at the time, on a full Novitec body kit slant.
What's the craziest car you've driven?
Lamborghini Aventador SV with Chris from Rapworks, Chris Youngash, and some of his staff were there. We were out filming it, and it was wrapped in a reverse Tron. And I showed up. I pulled it out of the owner Giavanna Wheels' driveway down the hill, and they were having an avant-garde wheel party, I guess. And I was driving by, and they flagged me down, and I showed up and drove in the freaking SUV on wheels, with the white, outline reverse Tron.
Yeah.
And they're having a car show. And obviously, the cars were really nice. None of them were like that cars. Chris from Rapworks happened to be there, and so he had his Hellcat, and we went out and did a little fun photo shoot day with our photographer. And I mean, that car is nuts. It's just crazy. And the cool thing about the owner of Giavanna Wheels is he literally makes you drive it like you stole it. So he doesn't want you to, excuse my language, pussyfoot around.
Right.
It's a different world working in the wheel industry. But now I'm coming back, so which is a big thing.
Yeah. So what's your plans on this whole new Pro Series? I mean, tell me a little bit of how you came up with the idea of Pro Series? Like came up.
So the idea of Pro Series was actually come up with Austin Smith, Painted Sid, came up with an idea to start making products. He actually originally came up with some gloves, I think were the first ones that he came out with. It was first distributed by Fellers, but he had, it started to sell really well, and the product wasn't that good. And so I've always known Austin. Austin, I've been friends for years. A lot of the guys at Painted Dead I still talk to. They're all good friends of mine. I got pulled into this because I have manufacturers that I work with, obviously in different industries, and so we needed to make a new product. So I started working on the beginning of this year, redoing all the gloves, was what we started with, and I added the touch screen. There's a new formulation that's coming out next year, which is actually, the logos are now embroidered. It's a little stronger yarn, just a different glove. Yeah, they started arriving at the end of this month, the new ones. They're just a little better. Like every time you make a product, if you're not engineering it better, then you're not growing.
Right.
That's the thing. So, yes, we always try to keep them the same, but in actuality, we're just trying to improve the product a little bit. But, you always got to be innovative, right?
Right.
So Austin called me. I got involved. I was actually like his manufacturer, I guess you could say, and then I would make the first couple batches of gloves. So over time, he and I are good friends, and we just decided to, make it a full-time thing and work together and kind of mold everything together, which officially happened, I guess, the first of this year. And so now we're both in business together to make products. I came on board. I put in another 6 different distributors, 6 or 7 more. We're working on more like every day. We get requests all the time. Our gloves are probably our best seller. Came out with a squeegee. That was another idea. Originally, it was designed differently. I manufactured a Pro Series logo in it, so it's kind of like the grip, which is really cool. It's a cool design. And the biggest thing about like the Pro Series products, they're all designed, like Austin's a really good designer. So like, for graphic design, things like that. So he's also got a strong marketing background. I know he's going to be on next week or the week after. And he's always kind of like the pioneer of like, we're going to have the packaging, it's got to be perfect. And if you ever look at like our products, like they are, everything's kind of the same. Like the packaging and the gloves and the squeegee and the buffers and everything's kind of like, it all works together. Everything's named, we have Pro buffers and Pro gloves and Pro Series and Pro squeegee, and now we're coming out with Pro knife. And so all these things are like, everything kind of works together, everything flows together, and we want everybody to know, like when they get our product, that it is like a quality, like the quality is perfect on the product. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that everybody's happy with the products, and you get what you pay for. They're all competitively priced. There's nothing crazy about it. We don't outprice ourselves, and we try to stay in the game. But we do have like some cool technology features and everything. We are the only touchscreen gloves. I have contracts, like I am the only one that has touchscreen gloves. They're actually carbon infused fingertips. That you use pieces of carbon Kevlar in the fingertips. That's why they're a little different color. That actually makes them touchscreen.
Ones that I have only have the thumb, pointer finger, and middle finger. Even the middle finger. That always comes in use sometimes.
For more, let me know. Yeah. There's no reason to do it on the other 2 fingers.
Right.
That's just how we design them. It is the only touchscreen glove. So, that thought came about. It's like you're up on a scaffolding or, the guys that are doing crazy installs, maybe they're up on a ladder, they're on top of the car, whatever. How many times you're up there, you got your gloves on, you're trying to hold on, you're trying to hold a heat gun or a blowtorch or something, and then your phone rings and you're like, I gotta take off my gloves, I gotta set everything down, and it takes time. Yeah, so like guys like put their gloves in their mouth and they pull them off, and like I see that all the time. Make them dirty.
Are you keeping to the theme of just black and red? Is that going to be the brand theme, and that you can just run with those 2 colors?
Black and red is our colors, so everything's black and red right now. Going forward, there is a couple things in the works that some people have seen that we probably will come out with that are a little different colors. But for the most part, the packaging and everything that's kind of in our Pro Series line will always be like that.
That's cool.
Now, however, we come out with other products like SEMA. We came up with skeleton gloves. Austin came up with that idea. It's a great idea. And
great marketing campaign to run that during SEMA.
Yeah, and the thought process is like I have a distributor background in selling products. So how annoying is it when somebody goes out and gives away the product that you sell?
Right.
So whenever we give away stuff, we try not to give away the product that we sell because really it hurts our distributors and our numbers, right?
Right.
So we're giving away a product that's a one-time, the skeleton gloves. We made 500 pairs. That was all that was ever made. We gave them away, and that's it. They'll never come back again. It was a one-time deal, but everybody wants them. And then also, it's not our regular pro glove. So, when fellas are selling them and everybody else, like, people can ask them for skeleton gloves. They won't have them, but it's the exact same glove that we sell in our packaging as a pro glove. It's just not that product.
Right.
We just have skeletons. Basically, the skeletons we just screened on the top.
Yeah, I think it's more the customization and the kind of uniqueness of the look of
Halloween.
it. Yeah, the look of it is just, it's sick. You know what I mean? And I know you're coming up with some new patterns and stuff. I know you had posted like camo.
Yeah, I mean, that was ordered, those, we're still waiting to see if those come about. But all those stuff, like our distributors asked us to make to make certain glove patterns and things like that. And so we have the ability to do that. Like I can, if somebody orders enough of anything, I can make it whatever.
Right.
No problem. But, and we'll come out with some crazy stuff. But again, if it's something too crazy, we'll give it away. I mean, I posted a pink glove the other day. We've got some samples of those. We're thinking about what to do with those. Breast cancer kind of came and went. That was October. So really, if you're going to come out with pink gloves, it'd probably be better to come out with them later in the year.
That'd be cool to come out with the teal for autism. That'd be a cool month.
We could do that. But again, I mean, I got to have enough customers that are going to buy it, or a distributor that's going to buy it, because we only sell really to distributors. Yeah. We don't live in the world of selling
direct.
I have a strong background of selling direct. Remember all those returns and everything else? Like,
yep.
I just want to make the product. I want to support my distributors, and that's my goal. I've worked in the wheel industry as a manufacturer, so I know how it is being a manufacturer versus being a distributor. And as long as you keep the margins healthy, and then your distributors are always happy, and they're the ones that promote and push the product.
Right.
And I do welcome everybody to. I would love to have more posts and things like that. Like we're growing our Instagram account on the Pro Series. We've done like 15,000 in 2 or 3 months. We're doing pretty well.
It's nice to repost a lot of people's work too, because you appreciate that.
This is right, and like this is my. Like I'm telling everybody out there, if you guys post our stuff, I will repost it.
Yeah, just tag them. Pro Series.
Just tag me. That's all you got to do. And I will repost it. I will push your brand. I will talk about, you rapping with our products, whatever it is. There's nothing better than free marketing.
Right.
If you want to send me stuff, please send it to me. Like I will post it too. I'll put it on the website. Whatever needs to happen. So yeah, that's my little spiel about that. But so I mean, making products. I mean, it is difficult sometimes. People have a lot of different ideas. I mean, you have to think about we have to sell, so many products to make margins, and then you look at the business aspects. A lot of people ask me, like, why don't we make, certain products? And I'm like, well, I'd have to sell a lot of them. Like toolkits is another one people are talking about.
Yeah, well, it's not even that. It takes money to even produce a concept. I mean, to make a mold for something that could be a couple grand, and then you have to tweak it. I mean, there's a lot that goes on the back end before you even get it to a prototype.
And you got to build, depending on the product. I mean, there's a lot of R&D costs that go into this product, which, it takes money. People got to buy products to be able to make new products.
Right.
I mean, Yellow Tools is probably our biggest competitor right now, and they do a really good job. They manufacture everything in-house, but they're really expensive. But they come out with a lot of innovative stuff, and because they can do short runs, they can come out with, pretty like limited quality products, and they're expensive. But it costs a lot to manufacture stuff. So
right.
It'll be interesting to see where the tool market goes. If anybody has any ideas, they want to shoot them over to me. That's fine too. And the biggest thing, like if you guys have any problems with any of the products, like, I need to know about it. Like one of my biggest pet peeves of anything in the world is when somebody goes, I used to deal with this when I was selling vinyl. So somebody has an issue with something, and so they go and they post it to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't actually come and tell the manufacturer. So it's kind of like somebody has an issue with their gloss black vinyl, and they go and they post it on their Facebook and their Rap Society and everything else, and they're like, oh my God, my 3M gloss black has modeling in it. This is crap. But I can guarantee you that nobody at 3M ever sees that.
Right.
Or in the worst case scenario, they're like, my 3M gloss black, which I bought from Icon, is really bad. And you're like, and you got to have people literally would call me. They used to call me and be like, hey, there's this post up. You need to go like deal with it. And I literally was the one who would always call these people and they'd say, hey, buddy, like, John Smith, hey, you should just call me. I'll deal with it. I understand if you want to post to the world because you're mad or angry because you have an install that you've done and something's wrong with your vinyl, but just call me because I'm going to replace it.
Right.
If you go and you post it, I'm going to be mad.
Well, technology nowadays is a blessing, but also can be hell because, the power of Yelp or social media and reviews, you can't monitor, what people are going to put up with something like that. And then you're taking too much time to trying to take it down or have it take down. You got to call, Facebook and tell them, hey, this shouldn't be up. They should have called me, and it's a bad review, and it's harder to get them down than it takes for the person writing the thing to put it up, and it sucks.
But reviews are good if it's a warranted review.
Or if it's a warranted
I mean?
review, right? But when it's a rant because for some reason they didn't contact you first, it sucks.
Right. It's kind of like there was an issue with our gloves the other day. Somebody said that there was lint coming on the vinyl and on the sticky side, and they're like, "Well, why are you touching the sticky side?" And the other thing with gloves is like, you put them in your mouth to take them off because you pull the fingers off. You put them on the ground when they're not in your hand. They come out of a package. Like, I'm not selling hermetically sealed, electronic, anti-static gloves. They're not made for clean room application. Like, we have gloves. They're made. They're put in the package. You can wash them. You can wear them, whatever. But, like, I don't know where you put your gloves. The other thing is, I don't know why you're touching the adhesive. So, like, please call me and I'll talk you through it, or I'll give you a new pair of gloves. I don't care, but I don't need to, like, go and hear it from 80 other people.
Yeah, you don't need a negative review.
But it's a negative review, but it's also, it's kind of like they're trying to get a rise out of me or Austin or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they're trying to promote a competitor's product is really the way I look at it. So it's kind of like targeted anti-marketing, we could say. Which doesn't make any sense because they're not getting paid by the other companies or by our competitors. What makes more sense is for them to say, like, if there actually is an issue with any of our products, I need to go and I need to change it, fix it, I need to pull them off the shelves, whatever I need to do with that product. That's what I need to know. Like, every time there's ever an issue with any of our products, I need to know about it. And probably 50 to 75% of the time, I'm going to replace it. Maybe 90% of the time. I mean, just out of, like, pure, you need a new product, like, I just want to make sure to make it right. You know what I mean? If somebody called me and told me there's an issue with the product and literally said, hey, I have an issue with, let's just say, the pair of gloves, they're doing this, that, and the other, I guarantee 100% of the time, I'm going to replace them. If they go and they post on their own social media for the world to see that they're having an issue, which is obviously, like, an environmental issue, it has nothing to do with the product, I'm probably not going to replace it, and I'm going to be mad, and then it's like, there's no reason for it.
Right.
We're all trying to make money. We're all trying to, do our wraps and our installs and everything else. I don't need to spend extra time, or they don't need to spend extra time or their time that they should be, wrapping cars or making money or doing whatever, targeting us.
Yeah. It's tough.
No, but I mean, I dealt with it in the vinyl industry when I sold vinyl. You deal with it not really in the wheel industry. That's one thing you don't really get a lot of returns on wheels.
Unless it's a defect, prior shipping. Or...
I can tell you that there's a really, most of the time, user error.
Yeah.
Very, very, very rarely. But see, when you make products in, like, vinyl industry, it's a little different. So, wheels are one way, and it's a different product. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I welcome anybody out there to please, like, contact myself, Austin, send an email, whatever, if there's ever an issue, or, like, you have a qualm about a product, or you want to change something about a product. we are all ears. Like, I got people testing these products like day in, day out, all over the U.S., all over the world. Actually, we're always giving out products, having people test them, kind of like other installers in the industry, trying new products, things like that. So like I have the ability, because I manufacture, to change the product, and I also have the ability to fix things if they're out there. You know, a lot of times we don't see these kinds of things that may come up over time.
What's the time frame of testing a product, a new product that you're coming out with, until you actually are 100% confident to put it out to market?
It depends on the product. You see, with any product that you have, when you start to manufacture a new product, you have to look at, I mean, there's testing involved. It depends on what the product's made out of. Like, if you're making a wheel, for example, it's pretty much been done for the last 20 years, so they've got the process down pat. Structurally, all the wheels are the same, and they're all good, and they're all tested. They have, testing done on all the wheels by an outside agency, and so that's all guaranteed, because it's a different process. When you're testing these kind of products, we're like paving new ground.
Right.
So when I put touchscreen into a glove, and let's just say it doesn't work well with blue tape, for example, like one of our versions didn't. Nobody's ever going to test blue tape on fingertips. Like, if you're testing, like, let's just say I gave you a pair of gloves and I said, hey, I need you to go test these gloves for me for wrapping cars. I guarantee the last thing on your mind is I'm going to wrap blue tape around the tips.
Yeah.
Because blue tape's painter's tape. It's not supposed to pull anything, but for some reason it pulls those tips out.
Really?
And that was like an 8-month-old product problem. We fixed all that. That's all been changed.
And you do see a lot of the wrappers now inheriting more of the, I would say, yellow tape for the edges while they're wrapping for color changes and stuff.
Well,
now.
right, but I'm just throwing out there, like, when we're testing. So the amount of time, back to your original question. I mean, the amount of time to bring a product to market is usually, I mean, for me, it takes money. It's probably the biggest thing. I could do it faster if I had more money. Buy more product, everybody, so I can put more products to market. Yeah, I can bring a lot of new products if everybody keeps buying more products. But no, I mean, it takes a good, like, we'll have test samples in our hands. I can get test samples within 30 days.
Wow.
Of most things, depending on, if I'm doing CAD design, building molds, things like that takes longer. It really depends on the product. And we've been testing, like, our new Pro knife for 6 months, maybe longer.
I can't wait for that to come
changes.
out.
There's a lot of things that go into that because there's so many moving parts to that. I mean, if you think about a knife, you're like, oh, it's just a stainless steel knife and some blades. Well, when you start to think about, you have packaging, and you have to package the blades, and you have to put the knife in a package, and you've got to do, the logos have to be right, and the print on the logos has to be correct, and then you've got to color everything, and you have to deal with that, and the manufacturing process, coloring blades and knives and everything else. It's something that literally I can tell you that most knife factories
wouldn't even want. Yeah,
they won't do it.
They wouldn't even want to do that. I mean, because you're building a different brand or looking at things outside of the box. For someone to build a red blade, I don't even think. I'm sure it's been talked about in different manufacturers for sure, but I'm sure everyone's like, nah, nobody will buy that. But here you are now, building a red blade with your logo, your branding, paint is dead, and everybody's like waiting for this thing to come out.
Right, but it also has to be perfect by the time it gets there.
Right.
So, and that's the thing. And the other thing is, I mean, you have to look at it as, we build a red blade, and then how many can you sell?
Well,
So it's a business conversation that I have on a daily basis with Austin. And I go back and forth. It's like, well, we have to figure out how to fund the project, and it's like, I need people to buy them, you know, and I need my distributors to get on board. And it's very difficult to bring. Remember, these products, like, everybody has a knife. Like, you can go to Home Depot and build a knife and buy a knife. You can buy an Ultra knife. Some Home Depots, they even carry 30 degrees. I don't know if they do or not. But when you're bringing, like, a product that's very similar and you have to price it kind of the same, you have to buy, the quantities have to be bought in the right way. And then you've got to make sure that, there's a lot of contracts and stuff that has to be made with all the manufacturers. And there's a lot that goes into it. There's, trademarks and copyrights and patents and all sorts of stuff that people don't think about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we carry I'll tell you a story. So the other day, I have in the wheel industry, I have a client in Brazil that literally says to the owner, there are wheels being sold on Alibaba under one of his 20-year-old trademark names for less than he can actually buy the wheels from in China. No joke. They're like $59 for a 20-inch wheel or 19-inch wheel being sold on Alibaba. So I get involved because he sends that information to me, and I start going through it with Alibaba and whatnot, and come to find out, because his factory in China is only making 20 to 24-inch, they are selling 19 and 18-inch sizes of the same wheel designs with the same logos and the same boxes, and they filed for a Chinese trademark. So they literally have a legal right in the country of China to manufacture wheels using his brand, his name, who his son's actually is Coco, so Coco's actually his son's name, in China, and they can put it on Alibaba.
And there's nothing they can do about that.
Nothing. No.
That sucks.
They can try to fight it under Chinese law. I mean, good luck. But the point that I'm trying to get at is when we're making products for the wrap industry, like I call Austin, I'm like, oh my God, can you believe this happened to these wheels or whatever? We need to make sure that, we've got all our contracts done and, legally we've got our lawyers working in different aspects to make sure that our trademarks are set, and think about all the work that goes into building a product.
Yeah. All it takes is one T not getting crossed, and they can take that product and sell the technology or sell it to someone else, put a different name on it, and you can't do nothing. It sucks. They've always made third parties. Yeah. Yeah, look at exactly. Look at 3M. Their technology, and they were the pioneers of the air release and all that stuff. So
I can tell you that 3M has an entire building full of attorneys that are just chomping at the bit for anything that does copy their stuff. And they are constantly working on it. I've been there. I've taken vinyl there, argued with them. I mean, they literally have. They're on it. And they try to be. I mean, it takes time to go through them and to legally find it. But so when we're making products, you're asking with time. I mean, it can be as fast as I want to go, but a lot of times it's probably me getting in my own way, trying to make sure that all these T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, and that everything's perfect. Austin would love for me to go faster, but a lot of times it's me, checking the trademarks and writing the contracts and making sure that, if I'm using this factory, that they are legally not allowed to make it, and that the entire, manufacturing plants and all the manufacturing plants across the world can't make the same product. I have to make sure that happens. I mean, the last thing I want to do is come out with a product and then come and find out one of my competitors is trying to make the same thing.
So all the stuff that you're coming out with now underneath the Pro Series, is it all going to be patent?
Patent pending, trademarked, copyrighted, all that stuff. I mean, like the touchscreen thing, I know we've had an issue with that, and people claiming that, our competitors' core products are touchscreen. They're not. They can't be. But, I mean, it's catch-22. But at the end of the day, I mean, we make a great product. People love the product. And so if you're first to market with it, that's the other thing. You got to be first to market with everything.
Right.
If you're not first to market, you lose.
Right, because anything after
copying,
anything after that, you're copying.
Right, when you're copying, though, you're still just picking up the crumbs.
Right,
you're picking up whatever's left behind or whatever you can pick up from somebody else for the most part. But again, I mean, we're in the business to make really good products. I just need everybody to give me their feedback often. Don't post things on social media, but just call me first. If you want to post it, fine. Let me know it's coming.
Right.
Heads up. Like,
so
I don't bite. I don't bite. Like, if anything, like, I'm going to be like, here's free, whatever. Like, I got to go, but I need to know so that I can call my plants and my manufacturers and say, let's fix it.
Right. So when,
I'm here.
So when are those squeegees coming out?
Squeegees are out.
They are out
already. So the first
already.
squeegee was the last product that we launched. Metro has them. Sellers has not picked them up yet for various reasons. I don't know. Hopefully they'll pick them up soon.
I'm
Five
hoping
Star Canada has them. Every single of all of my distributors, like in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and then Metro in the U.S., all have them. So they are all being sold. The Pro Squeegee comes with two buffers, two of our Pro buffers, one wet and one dry, so you guys can try them out.
Mm-hmm.
Not having to buy like a whole 20-pack buffers. But they are out. They are available for sale. They come in a nice little box with everything inside. Cool thing, like you're gripping the actual logo Pro Series, which is a really neat concept. Just trying to make it different. And we're probably going to come out with a softer squeegee soon. Like I made that one kind of hard. It's more like a Teflon.
Yeah.
You know, because if you talk to one installer, they say, all my installer friends out there, like, I like it hard, I like it soft, kind of like.
There's no happy medium. Right.
No, and like every single installer that you'll ever meet, always, like, I talk to a lot of installers of products. I've been doing it for years. Like, I have it ingrained in my head. Like, I'll call Sharif and SS Customs and be like, hey, man, so, like, what are you using? Like, what kind of products do you like? All the time. Or I'll call, Austin, and he'll ask his installers or whoever it is. Like, because I've known these guys since the beginning of, like, their businesses, like, I can call whoever it is, and I always ask. And you always get, like, a wide range of answers.
Right.
Justin Tate's a good friend of mine. Like, I'll ask him. He'll be like, oh, I'm really hot on these, the new butterfly squeegees or, the big red squeegee, whatever it is. It's always like the new hot thing. And then installers like. And most of the time with installers, you got to remember too that when it comes to tools, they're very dead set their way. So like they like this kind of glove. They like this kind of squeegee. They like this kind of knife. And they don't really do a lot of changing, at least to my knowledge. Like most of the time, if you're going to go to Fellers and you're going to buy tools or Grimco or Metro or whoever it is, you're going to buy the same knife and the same kind of blade every time.
Right. That's tough. Because I think back when I was wrapping install wise, I think I was buying the Geek Wrap squeegees, and that was like the only thing I was buying. The $14.99, $13.99 maybe. But I would be so loyal to buying those. Whether I was just installing door lettering, I would still whip out my Geek Wrap. I wouldn't use like the 3M gold squeegee or anything like that. But yeah, you're definitely right about people being loyal to a brand. And if it's a good brand,
when it comes to squeegees, especially because remember with your squeegees, like you're talking about the Geek Wraps, I've used them for years too. I like the Teflon. I used to make my own Teflon squeegees with Lidco. We used to have like Icon squeegees, which are really like it's the same thing. Geek Wraps uses the same thing, the same hard cards, the Teflon hard cards.
Mm-hmm.
Geek Wraps uses lamb on their tips. That's why they're a little different. They're a little soft. But as an installer, like you get used to the way it feels. So like
right.
you get used to the techniques and the install using that squeegee. The pressure is the same. So like your hands get used to using the pressure, everything else. If you give them something different, they're like, huh? Like it takes longer to install, right? Because now you're gonna like relearn like how the squeegee handles around the corner or whatever it is. How much pressure to apply with the air release, like different materials, like that's something like you learn. It's just an inherent value. Like you learn that over time. So if I change your squeegee, you're going to have bubbles or things happen with your vinyl as you're installing it because you're not used to using that squeegee.
And especially since you've kind of re-engineered the look of the squeegee itself. I mean, you haven't like changed the color or made a soft one or made a hard one like, Yellow Tool would make, or make one of those 30-degree oval ones like Yellow Tool would make. So the look, the feel, the way you use it is completely different. And there's probably a small little learning curve, 1 or 2 wraps.
Yeah, there's a small learning curve. We do have a red one that'll probably come out. Austin will kill me for telling people, but I mean, there's a red. I want to make it red. He doesn't like the whole red buffer, red squeegee idea.
I was gonna ask that too. Maybe you could flip flop it, do black buffers with the red squeegee. That'd be kind of neat. I'd like to see that
but
personally.
We have the foothold on red buffers, so. Coming out with black buffers is kind of difficult. I mean, I don't see a problem with having a red on red, but I'm going to make a softer red squeegee. You've probably seen some pictures on Instagram of it.
Yeah.
It's been around for a little bit. We've been testing it and trying to make it softer and the biggest thing is like right now we're trying to find the right material. Because everybody else in the market has, usually the Yellow Tools, they've got a wide range. They've got like 30 different squeegees and they're all different, feels and textures and everything else. But that's because they can walk out in the back and they've got a machine and they can make a bunch of squeegees.
Right.
They can make 100 at a time, or 10 at a time, or however many molds they can make in one shot. But squeegees is a thing where it's kind of like everybody uses one, everybody has them. If you're selling tools and you don't have a squeegee, you're probably nobody. I mean, it's something that you have to have in your arsenal, right?
Right.
When you add like our pro buffers, which really glide well, like the wet pro buffers look really well wet. You kind of get the best of both worlds anyway.
Yeah.
So
I can contest to that. I just did a wrap the other day, and I used your buffer for the first time, and I was really impressed.
Yeah, I mean they're really good buffers. It's the thing. A lot of people really like our buffer packs. I mean, some people complain because there's 20, and so there's 10 wet and 10 dry, and so it's kind of hard to like 10 wet and 10 dry buffers is going to last a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Month or 2 months, something like that. So we've talked about making maybe some smaller, like 5, 10 packs.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that goes back to the whole conversation of we have to make new packaging, we've got to add new part numbers, we've got to work with the manufacturers. Then we have to call our distributors and put new part numbers in their catalogs. It's like a whole.
At the end, is it worth it? I mean, to be honest with you, I think I bought mine for, I don't know, $21.99 or $19.99 at Fellers. I think as far as the packaging and what you get in there for the price, I have no problem at that price point. I think it's a pretty good price point. It's about $1. It's $1 a buffer, give or take.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
not
you're
that
wrapping
bad.
your car, and you're right. I mean, nobody's ever really complained about the pricing. I mean, but again, my distributors don't really complain about the pricing. I mean, we give them really fair pricing. We try to hold our margins. We put MSRPs on all of our products, which is something that I did. Coming out of the wheel industry, we have MSRP pricing, and I understand that there has to be a set price. I mean, I was telling you yesterday.
Well, you have MAP pricing for a lot of your products too, right? Because you got to have a threshold where Gramco or Metro.
We don't have MAP pricing. We just, I can tell the distributor, like, I'm not going to give you the product unless you advertise and tell her that, it's margin.
Right.
Legally, it's very difficult sometimes to have MAP pricing. But we're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's one of those things. Like, I wish the vinyl industry, you and I were talking yesterday, would go to a, more of a better pricing structure of products. I mean, that's been like the thorn in the side of the entire industry for a long time.
It's the third rail. Nobody wants to touch it.
Right. I was telling you yesterday. I mean, I've literally been a proponent since a couple of years ago that they should double the price of vinyl, and everybody's going to hate me for saying that. But what it does is it weeds out all the people that are installing that shouldn't be installing. Like, you shouldn't be installing under a tree.
Mm. Yeah. Outside in a makeshift garage, which you see that.
Right. I've literally seen people installing vinyl on the side of a road.
Oh, man.
No joke. Under a tree. In Texas. And they're undercutting the market. Well, somebody that goes and they build a shop and they, do the right things to build their business, and they, have a marketing guy, or they're doing their marketing and website, they have overhead, all those things. And then you got a guy that's installing under a tree, and he can charge half because he's basically just trying to pay his rent for his house.
Right.
It's difficult. But if the price of the vinyl and the barrier to entry was a little higher, I think it would really help everybody. Because in the end, like, you have to collectively do it as a whole. So if I told the entire rap industry that the price of vinyl was twice as much, they're just going to charge it back to the customer. Right. You can't just tell one guy because he's going to charge back the customer. The customer's going to go down to the guy installing under a tree, and it's half the price. He's like, I'm just going to get it done by him. So what you have to do is you got to work with the manufacturers and everybody else, and you got to really have that conversation. Is, how do we build the structure of pricing and it really starts with the people that make the product. Like, for the longest time, I know everybody's listening, and you yourself, like, everybody's been talking about this problem of, we have a shop, the guy down the street's charging less for the exact same service. Like, what am I going to do?
Right.
Well, if you all charged a lot more collectively as an industry and charge it back to the customer, because a lot of the customers that you guys talk to, I mean, they are willing to pay $100 more, $200 more, most of them.
Right.
The problem became when they went online and they saw this post from some guy that said that he got a great job from a guy for $1,500 for a car wrap. That's when that whole conversation started. And then, people do go get that $1,500 car wrap. It's probably just a skin, and it may be a good job. It may not.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, too, if you really look at the wrap industry as a whole, when you're pricing out your material, you're at least covering the material. At the least covering the material. With that being said, no matter, you should be well ahead of that price. Say if the material costs you $500 to do a certain wrap, the material costs you $500, you're at least gonna charge $500. You'd be stupid to just charge.
That's the mentality that everybody has. That's the wrong mentality.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So there's no structure as far as like, hey, when you start getting into the price of a specific vehicle, it's going to be tough for someone to say, yes, that Ford Transit is going to be X because everybody says so. There's no exact number, and there's nobody putting that in place. Everyone's just running square footage. They're like, yeah, $9 a square. And then when you do the math, and then you're running the wrap for like 3 days on a good install, you're running it for 3 days. How much money did you actually make after keeping the car in your garage heated for 3 days? Your lights, your squeegees, if you got the heaters. Yeah.
You got to put a factory number.
Right.
There's a lot of different things that comes about. And what I wish that every single, especially the business owners that are listening, like the guys that own the shop, like you guys need to go and you need to get a CPA. I can tell you the CPAs don't cost that much money. It's like this big. At one point, when I first started, I was like, CPA, like that sounds expensive. They're not. However, you need somebody to tell you exactly how much you have to mark up a product to cover your ass and to pay your employees and cover your overhead. There is a dollar amount, and they could probably bring it all back down to the square foot. So let's just say the cost of like a commercial wrap. Generally, the cost of a printed commercial wrap, laminated, let's just say like IJ 180, whatever, is probably $4. If you have a printer and everything else, it's probably somewhere between $3 and $4.
Yeah,
square.
Yeah. Cost
I'm
of
talking
ink.
like all in, like everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're at $450. We'll call it $5. Do you know what your overhead cost is per square foot? No. You're guessing. So you're like, man, I'm making $4 a square foot because I charge $9.
Right.
But you may not be. What you should be saying is, well, my overhead's $2 a square foot. So now my cost is really $7. So the cost of material and goods and everything else, plus the cost of my overhead is really $7. So I'm really only making $2 a square foot.
It's not
and
very
that's
good.
What's missing with there's not somebody out there teaching this. We go to rap classes. I know Justin Tate's been trying to teach business knowledge in some of his classes for years.
Yeah.
I really do wish that everybody would do that. I wish that everybody would have that conversation together. But there's always going to be some idiot that thinks with no overhead, who's working out of his garage, under a tree, on the side of the street, whatever it is, that's going to try to undercut it because he's going to not have that extra $2 a square foot of overhead.
Right. I totally agree. and on the podcast, I really don't talk too much about pricing. I know it's come up a couple times, and I think the conversation gets reverted to something else, but I did have a small conversation with someone, and it's exactly the way you're putting it, is you don't really know the cost of your overhead. Yes, you know the cost of the vinyl. Yes, you know the cost of what it takes for you to put it on, and you can judge by time, that, it'll take you 6 hours to wrap that. Well, what's your 6 hours actually come out to in square feet? You know what I mean? As a number. So you can, I wish there was an app. I know they came up with an app a while ago. It was like the wrap calculator or something like that. And I don't know. I can't remember. It was such a long time ago, but I can't remember if they were able to add the cost of, lights.
But everybody's cost is different.
Right.
Because
yeah.
It's not that. Okay, so look, like I know John Duver very well, and I can tell you that his overhead is completely different than, everybody else's. Or, um, comparing like you're comparing. Every shop is different, and you never really know, and only the owner really knows
Right.
because only the owner knows if they have debt, or let's just say they have debt service because they have an account with sellers, or they have to, pay off a credit card they have that they use to buy whatever it is. The only person that can make that decision and can really make that knowledge is the owner, who needs a CPA, who's also legally bound to not tell anybody. So like they're, your confidant.
Right.
But it's kind of like, if I were smart and I were CPA, I would come up with some kind of a mass marketing plan to all of the owners of vinyl shops, because if you could charge $500 a year, $1,000, I mean, my CPA is only $1,000 a year. It's not that expensive. It's an invaluable tool.
Right.
For everybody to know. However, you'd have to have everybody do it. So really, like, the conversation that we're having is really started with me saying, like, we need to fix the pricing in the wrap industry, and it comes from the manufacturer, and it can't come from within. Which is why when we manufacture products, we have the right. We don't have a MAP pricing, we have an MSRP pricing. But I can tell you that I tell all my distributors, like, this is the MSRP. This is what you're paying for it. The more you buy, the better the pricing is from my end. But, if I catch you, like, I don't want you advertising it for less than the MSRP.
Right.
Like, I don't want to literally get a catalog in the mail that has it for less. You can sell it for whatever the hell you want. Like, you could call up, Metro Restyling, and Chris could say, I'm going to sell you a pair of gloves for $1. But he's not marketing it to the world.
Right.
That's the thing. So, like, that's my whole spiel on that.
That's a whole nother episode right there on marketing. And
we didn't talk about the housewives.
The housewives? I thought we were gonna leave that for the next conversation. I'm sure a couple people would want to listen in, and
we can talk about how to get verified on Instagram. I manage 4 other accounts that are all verified.
I watched some YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I know we had this conversation yesterday, and you shunned me a little bit after I said I watched YouTube videos on how to market my Instagram.
It's the wrong way to do it.
But yeah, I mean, I love.
Give me your Instagram for like 3 weeks, and I'll show you how to do it.
No, you ain't gotta ask me twice.
You see my buddy post?
I did.
You see my next post?
No, I didn't see that.
80,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Out of what? Out of what? How many hours?
I just posted it like 2.
Damn. See, that's what I don't get, man. When I look at these posts, like even yesterday, man, when you had reposted, the guest for January for the podcast, and it was late last night when you had posted it. I mean, I was up till about 3 a.m, but I looked at it. It was probably like midnight, 1 o'clock. It was like 20 minutes in, you already had 1,000 likes on that post, and I had a few people, follow me because of it and whatnot. And I think even this morning I looked at it, it was pretty close to 2,000 or 1,800 or something like that. But that's just insane numbers. How you can build an Instagram like company or marketing, whatnot, whatever you want to call it, and just have that pull. Once you hit send on that account, the amount of people viewing that and how quick. I mean, what does your phone look like once you post something either on the Housewives Instagram or
my post 3 hours ago has 58 comments and 98,000 views.
How do you even keep up with that shit? Like, I go crazy. You ever go? You're probably not one of those guys, but you ever see those guys that if you look at their phone, or even women, and you look at their inbox for emails, and it says like 700 emails. It's got the little red number on it. That shit gives me anxiety.
Yeah, I have that. I read. When you're talking about like what I do for tailored emails, I mean, I literally read 200 or 300 emails a day.
That gives me anxiety.
So here's the numbers on this. Okay, I posted this 3 hours ago. There's 2,400 people. Only 2,400 people liked it. There's 58 comments. 255 people saved it. Okay, 255 people saved my post.
Saved it with that new feature
Saved
Instagram has, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
543 actions on the page, 429 profile visits, 109 people followed me off of one post. Okay. 90% of accounts that saw this post were not following me. Okay. My reach on one post is 45,285.
And that's without promoting it, by the way. That's just a regular post. Now, have you got this down to a science as far as what?
There's nothing to do with posting.
Well, what days, what times, and whatnot.
That's all bullshit.
That's all bullshit.
So if you wanna like have a conversation about social media and you think that like, I know you're gonna have Chuck on and he's gonna discuss about social media, but everything that everybody is doing is wrong. Every single person in the rap industry that's in the rap industry that is posting things and doing stuff is incorrectly doing it.
So now, can you elaborate as far as what exactly we're doing wrong? Like, what is it that is it? I know we had this conversation yesterday, but just for topics for today. But I know you had mentioned it's not more. What I got from what we talked about was it was not more like I'm gonna post this and see how many likes I get or see how many comments I get. It's more than that.
The thing about social media that everybody is so focused on is likes or whatever somebody else can see on this post. Like like I just posted this and it has 90% of accounts that saw this post weren't following me, and it reaches 45,000 people.
Right.
Okay. And this post was made 3 hours ago, and there's 543 actions, 429 profile visits, 255 people saved it. And it's so good that literally the staff at Giavanna Wheels right now is texting me because they're like, bro, like, really? Like, we're getting phone calls. So how do you know? So what everybody's focused on, though, in social media, and this is my little thing, they're all focused on likes, followers, all this other stuff, right? Completely wrong. Because the amount of followers and likes that you have in your account has nothing to do with you making more money.
It's
nothing.
Just it's a status thing. Like, hey, look at me. And people just liking it.
If it's a status thing, then go buy an account. Like, go do, all that other stuff. I don't know about you guys, but, like, I'm here and I get paid to make a company money. I'm doing the same thing now in the rap industry, too. So, like, we'll start to push all of our accounts and really kind of promote and try to like, make hold. But the only reason that people that I do that is because it makes money to the companies I'm promoting.
Right. Turns into dollars.
So, I mean, like,
the likes turn into dollars.
Raw numbers. Last year alone, in 2017, I signed up 93 dealers for $10 million worth of sales from Giavanna Wheels. Just off of social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's it. Those are people that had never ever bought from Giavanna Wheels. Actually, a couple of them were probably coming back, but they started seeing the posts. They started seeing, what was going on, the new wheels, the new products, whatever. They call up or they send you messages, DMs, and the way I have it all set up, it kind of like everything's automated now through the website. So I can set you up as a new dealer pretty quickly. Like, I send you a link and you literally go out, fill out a form, and it comes back and you put in all your business information. You're now a dealer, and then one of our salespeople will call you. We have a whole process.
Now, do you think the lack of hiring a marketing agency or social media, because, I mean, there was no such thing, till, I wouldn't say recently, but maybe, let's just say 5 years, 6 years.
It's not hiring, and that's another thing. Like, hiring a social media agency, stuff like that, they're only as good as the content that they're given.
Right. You still have to come up with the content.
Right. Somebody does.
But yeah, but then you're so into like, hey, I really have to make money, so I have to wrap this car, so I'm not going to sit here, take my camera out, take pictures.
And it's also like, but it's also it's a big myth too that you need to have like professional photography and video guys. That doesn't work either. Yes, that's cool. I do it all the time. But at the same time, like, when I post a video of some guy standing outside of a car taking a picture, or like walking around his car with his new wheels on it or whatever, it gets more likes than usually the post with the badass videos. because
Yeah.
everybody's doing badass videos these days.
Right.
People want to see what a reel looks like in real life. People want to see what a wrap looks like in real life. They want to know what it looks like. Like, you know how, like, when you, let's just say you wrap a car and you go outside and take a video, like a walk around video of your car,
Mm-hmm.
and you send it to your buddy, and he's like, oh man, that's cool. And then he sends it to another buddy, and he's like, man, that's really cool. They got some new color, whatever it is, and it builds the hype.
Right.
So you got to think about it the same way. It's like when you're on Instagram and you're putting out a badass video, people are like, oh, there's another badass video. When you make it like you're texting your buddy, it works a lot better. A whole lot better.
More natural as opposed to forced.
It's a more natural thing, but it also doesn't have filters on all the colors. It doesn't have, settings for lighting, and it's not shot, and it's not like set up, and it gives it this real factor.
Yeah, it's not a full photo shoot just to get a picture of one rim. I mean,
No, I'm talking about vinyl. But here's the thing: like, so you got to put yourself in the customer's shoes, and that's something that I've always been doing too. You have to literally think about what your customer wants. If your customer sees a video of like a badass, fully designed, couple $1,000 video of a wrapped car, it's going to be badass, whatever. He's probably going to think, A, it's too expensive for my car. B, does it really look like that? Because, with the strobe lighting and all that other stuff that was going on in the video, like, I don't know if it really looks like that.
Right.
However, if you send him a text video, like if you walked out to your car, you're the owner of a wrap shop, and you walk around it and you send him that video, he's going to know that that's what that color looks like.
Right.
He's going to know that that's what it looks like on that car. So when you're posting, you need to be like in tune with your market. And when you're posting, the biggest thing with social media, though, is not the numbers. The sheer numbers at the end of the day that any marketer needs to look at, or anybody that owns a business, is basic 101. Do you make money spending all your time doing this? Are people coming into your shop because you're posting on social media? If they're not, you either need to get better at social media, or you need to stop doing social media because it's a waste of your time. You need to go focus on something else. A lot of guys now, because the rap industry is young, aren't using Facebook. Don't ask me why, because most of the people that have money use Facebook. Instagram's growing, but I'm just saying, like, most of the people that are on Facebook are a little bit older, more established, probably married, have lives, and can afford $3,000 to $5,000 to wrap their car. Yet we all are on Instagram trying to one-up each other with a more badass post than the last guy, and I'm just sitting back over here just laughing about it.
What are some tips that, without revealing?
Really, like, posting natural content is a really good way to do it. Like, you can do amazing things with an iPhone, but just kind of like, and making it like different. Like, don't always be the same.
Don't overdo it.
You gotta like try different things. And the other thing is, a lot of these shops need to brand themselves.
Right.
So they're always posting like, this is the car I did today. It's done in this color and it's this kind of car. Here, hashtag, Avery, hashtag Chrome, hashtag Lambo. But the next guy's doing the same thing.
But what's your take on the hashtags too? Because that.
Well, hold on. So when you're posting stuff and you're literally tagging and doing all that stuff, they're posting the same thing that the guy down the street at the wrap shop is doing too.
Right.
There's no branding of the business. Okay. Like, one thing that we can all say in the rap industry, like, that Austin Smith is really good at, and he's always been really good at, and he's one of many, so I don't want to single him out, but like, he's always been really good at branding his business. It started with his Rap City video and like videos on YouTube, and he's always kind of had this culture that's built in, like, you can literally see it through his YouTube, social media, whatever else. From the guy down the street from him doesn't have that. Like, there's not, pictures of the guys in the shop that are doing funny things or jumping off trees. Like, there's stuff like going on there all the time.
Right.
Like, it's like a reality TV show that happens on his Instagram. So what you have to do is you have to brand your shop out too, to make it like you're real people. You're not like a robot, right?
Right.
Robotically posting on social media, like I know 1,000 people probably came. They literally go, it's 2:00, I gotta post.
Yeah.
And what do I post? I can post the same thing.
I'm not gonna lie. I look at my analytics that they give you on Instagram, and I see what days are better than others, and I look at times at what better, and I try to manage that in that way, and then I document it. How many posts did I get? How many likes did I get today? But then I'll have a random post. Like the other day, I posted. It was probably the most stupidest post I put on, but I think I've gotten the most comments out of it was the one with the pieces of ham on 2 platters, and one was like a light colored and it said CMYK, and then the other one was like really bright colored and it said RGB. And all I did was post, what are you guys using for platforms when you profile your designs? RGB or CMYK? And I got a ton of people, liking it, commenting, and I think now that's probably my biggest post, as random as it was, and it was like at 10 o'clock at night on like a Wednesday. And I agree with what you're saying, that the organic post and the not forced and 1,000 filters over it to make it look better, you're not standing out and you're not branding yourself at any way. You're just posting a nice picture. That's it. People are just going to like it, but you ain't going to make money from it.
But people aren't going to like it because they're not going to see it because it's not something that's interesting. I mean, you have to post things. You got to post things that are like if you're looking at a list of pictures, which is what the Explore page is, like on Instagram or whatever, like you've got to put these pictures in front of people.
I mean, like you said, everyone's more worried about making $1 at the shop, worrying about the next job.
But you can't do it that way, because then everybody else is doing the same thing. And the industry's not growing. So you're wasting your time. Like, people should just stop. Like, if you're getting 50 views a picture or 50 likes a picture, no comments, no messages, like,
no interaction.
Either you have a really new account and you need to do something like drastically different, or you need to start doing things that are not on social media to get your social media up. Meaning, you need to go out and you need to like put ads in. Like, I was in Las Vegas the other day. Before SEMA, we were building this crazy thing that we did on like Thursday of SEMA for the 20-year anniversary of Giavanna Colors. But I'm driving like 2 weeks before SEMA. I'm listening to the radio, and all of a sudden, I hear on the radio, "Come get your car wrapped. We have gloss black and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Who's that?" And then I'm like, "Oh, it's Rick at I can't think of his name. He's one of the rap companies." And he's literally got a radio spot. And it talks, you know what the end of his ad says? "Follow me on Instagram." Obviously, I don't remember it, but I mean, it's like, well, hey, there's a great idea. So I called him. I literally left and I called him because I know Rick. And I'm like, "Ricky, how much did that radio spot cost you?" He was like, "I did a lot of trading with them and whatever." He thinks he's going to spend like $500 a month, something like that. But he's like, "Man, I'm like busy." And I'm like, "I bet you are. You are on like the local like hip hop station talking about car wraps in Las Vegas on a video spot at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Prime time."
And he's busy. And he's talking about his Instagram. He's doing videos. He does fun things on videos. Like, he'll put his face in vinyl and do stuff like that. And it's like, there's a guy that's trying to innovate new stuff. He's going out. He's using other mediums like radio, talking about his Instagram, what makes people go follow his Instagram, to get more people on it.
Which turns into dollars.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So if there's anything people need to do, they need to post original content, and they need to think of other creative ways to start getting people to follow them on social media, rather than trying to use social media to get people to follow you. It's the same mantra of, there's 100,000 people in the rap industry, and I'm going to steal customers from the other people, right? Or 100,000 people in the United States that have wrapped cars. Let me go out and find, the guys that already have the car wrapped and see if they want another one. Why would you do that? Right. You need to go find people that have no idea what car wrapping is, but have money, and tell them they need to get the car wrapped. Or go find fleet, commercial guys. Go to businesses, walk in the door, say hi, and, "Hey, Bob Plummer van, you have 12 vans outside, and they're all painted. What are you thinking?"
Right.
You know what I mean? Let me tell you dollar for dollar how much better it's going to be if you're going to do commercial wrap something. And we can do, colors, and, you put together a little package and you deliver it to them.
I've done that plenty of times to get new business. Just out of...
If you think about it, if you literally went and spent the same amount of time you were on social media walking around the different businesses trying to sell commercial wraps to say you're a commercial installer, or even like color changes to dealerships, which is a huge market that nobody really talks about. But I mean, I have friends in the industry that are doing more color changes on dealership cars, blackout packages, things like that. They have so much work, they don't even know what to do with themselves. They're hiring more installers. They're getting new buildings, doing all sorts of stuff because they've got 30 Lexuses sitting in their showroom.
Right.
No joke.
Right.
I know a guy in Houston that literally is doing that.
Well, that's huge.
And
That's huge in Europe too. I mean, we're behind the
he
curve.
He didn't go on social media to get that work.
Right. He went straight to the source to get it.
He walked in the dealership and was like, "Hey, let's do blackout packaging."
Yeah, that's old school. You know.
But that's what it's done because
it's not like PPF either, where the dealerships are the ones selling the PPF, not the PPF distributors nor the installers are going out and saying, "Oh my God, you're buying a brand new car? Here's my card." It's the dealerships are doing the work for them. You know, I mean, granted, it's a lucrative business. It's a definitely big lucrative business in the dealership aspect of it. But you talk to like the small guy that has a PPF shop, he's not going to be as busy as if you would just go down the street to the dealership and be like, "Hey, let me set up shop here, bill in the PPF stuff in your contracts, and have them pay for it that way, and we'll do the installs right here." You know, what's that cost? A conversation, you know, even a conference call with somebody at the dealer. It doesn't take much.
Right, but just think about because you're asking about social media, marketing, all of this stuff. I mean, there's ways. If you're an established business, like the wheel company I work for, and other things that's a different prospect. If you're a new installer with a new shop, or let's say you're an established shop, and you're trying to get business, get out of your shop.
Mm-hmm.
Go print banners, flyers, whatever it is, a nice little presentation package, and go talk to people.
Right.
People are not going to come find you because you wrapped a Lambo in gold chrome last year. It doesn't happen. I don't get it. I see it all the time. I see so many posts from people, and they're like, "Man, I'm doing this Lambo, whatever. This is on the front of my website." And you guys in the rap industry do not have budgets that are big enough to be able to market that way.
Right.
It doesn't. I can guarantee you, none of you have that kind of money. Maybe a couple of the fleet guys and the bigger guys or whatever, but that's a different prospect. None of you guys have the amount of money to make it rain, where people are walking in your shop and they're going, "Hey, here's my $5,000. Let me get my car done because you did this gold Lambo the other day." You may get a couple by word of mouth, things like that. But if you don't go out there and get more word of mouth, you're done.
That's all you're getting. Yeah.
If you have a day and you have no cars in your shop, that's a bad thing. You know
Definitely.
what I mean? And if you're a single installer with a shop working by himself or whatever, you need to figure out how to cut your expenses to get another guy in there so that you yourself go out and sell your business.
Yeah, I know
a lot of guys that are single installers. I'm like,
yeah, it's
you're not
hard.
growing.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to grow, one, and you never leave your shop. You never leave your shop. I lived in my shop 18 hours a day. It sucked.
But it needs to be different. You need to figure out how, if I can give one tip to everybody that's been in this industry longer than most of the people in the industry,
mm-hmm.
It's one thing I've always seen. The guys that really, really get it and they really grow a lot have a lot of guys around them.
Right.
That are really helping to, they
Build.
basically compartmentalize their business. They've got, the really successful guys, they've got one guy that does takes apart the cars. They've got one guy that cleans.
Mm-hmm.
They've got one or two installers that are doing the installs, maybe a graphic designer, maybe a staff manager, maybe if they're that big. And then usually it's the owner. If they have sales guys, they're way big. But usually it's the owner that goes around and sells the business because there's nobody that's going to sell the business better than the owners.
Right. Who do you think right now, social media-wise, in the rap industry, maybe give me top 3 that you think are doing it right now that you know of?
Well, Painted Dead does a good job. Austin does a good job with that account. I mean, he does a really good job. He's growing fast. I may give him some tips, but it is what it is.
Hey. Inside secrets.
We work together.
He doesn't do a lot of commercial stuff, right? Just a lot of color change.
He does the 201 wrap. That's all he does.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of what he does. I mean, but he compartmentalizes. He's got Painted Dead. He's got 201 wrap. He's got posters now, and so he's got everything kind of separated out. But he has a whole staff. I mean, he's in a different ballgame than a lot of the sellers he's been.
Mm-hmm.
But he built it up that way because he had a vision from the start. He wasn't going to be the guy sitting in the shop.
Right.
Other guys that are doing really good social media, coming from like the wheel industry. I mean, you've got like I listen to like Dub, magazine, like those kind of guys. Like when I see raps, like honestly, like if you want to see mass marketed raps, there's nobody in the rap industry that does it.
Right.
It's all the wheel guys that do it for you.
I like the way, I think it's 360 Wraps. They're incorporating, they had that deal with Gas Monkey, and Gas Monkey was also on, or Gas Monkey Garage was also on TV. And, when they built that new shop, they came in, did a couple things. Now, Richard, I think his name is, he's got this new show, and he comes in and he renovates people's garages. And he only uses 360 Wraps to come in and rebrand them, put marketing up, new signs, wall wraps, wrap a truck for the client, whatever the case may be. I think that probably was such a great idea for him to gang up with Richard in that aspect, because you don't see a lot of wraps on TV, whether it's Velocity or any type of car manufacturing TV shows. You don't really see that, and to have him kind of start and put that platform in place, I think it's kind of cool. I think he's one of the ones that I like to see flourish, and I think he just opened up another shop in California, because he's out of Texas, I believe, and he just opened up 360 Wraps in California recently.
Yeah, I mean, he does a good job, but I mean, like, these guys, it's still like, it's different. Like, you got to get to a place. Yes, you can get people on staff. They got to know what they're doing. You hire marketing companies. They got to know what they're doing too. You just got to be innovative with it. Right. I mean, I don't know if I mean, to be honest, like brutally honest with everybody, like I don't spend a lot of time. Like a lot of people always are like, "Hey, did you see my post?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." Hey, do you have an Instagram? Yeah, I have an Instagram. It's like $30,000, but I don't really use it. It's used for like business purposes, and it's being, that's what it is. Like, I don't know, like, hey, have you seen my thing on Facebook? No, I don't have time. Like, right. Sorry, I love you guys, but if you need something, call me. Most of you guys have my phone number, but like, my phone has been the same for 10 years, 20 years. But I'm just saying, like, I don't understand, like, if I'm not seeing, like, you're asking me a question, like, do I see everybody else? No. What I'm focused on is the raw data. I'm focused on that I just got 90% of the people that just viewed my my post 3 hours ago are new people. It's now pushing 100,000 views, okay? 83% of this morning's post were new people that are not following me, okay? And that's now pushing 70,000 views, okay? Both of those posts are going to have, I got 60 comments on one and 35 or 37 on the other. And so I'm trying to manage the comments, make sure that we're posting and moving those numbers up. I don't see people's posts. Unless you text me and tell me that you posted something and I gotta go look at it.
It doesn't even come up on your feed, No,
I don't even read my feed.
Right.
I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm dealing in the world, like, God love Chuck Cordy. I'll just say it. Like, he asked me the other day, he's like, hey, did you take down one of my photos or something? I'm like, take it down. Like, I didn't really even pay attention. You put it up. Like, seriously, like, I don't have time. And if I want to take something down or, like, target you or whatever, like, I'm not going to come after you. Like, I love you. I've known you since you worked for your father when you first started purchasing vinyl from me. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, I'm looking at the massive thing. I'm trying to see what countries we're targeting. If you're talking about social media, I did start a new program where I have multiple. I came up with a plan to open multiple Instagram accounts in different countries and start to like repost and retarget other languages, other hashtags in other languages. For about 3 months in, I'll let you know how it goes. It seems to be growing our account. But there's something to be said where you have 19 Instagram accounts that comprise about 500,000 followers, or like 500,000 followers, versus just having one, you have 100,000. Because now I'm posting in other languages, and I'm targeting at different times. So like I can target, like Rodas in Brazil, which is wheels in Brazil, or like. But I'm doing the same thing also in like the vinyl industry. So like maybe you should ask me in a year, like how big we got. I don't know, just different, trying to do different things. Anyway, my friend, I gave you a lot of stuff to work through.
Yeah, man. Let everybody know where they can find you, social media. I'm sure a lot of people are already following you, but if you want to hit up some other links.
My Instagram is shipwreck84. Shipwreck is one of my nicknames back in college. And then I'm on Facebook as Adam Ship. I manage multiple Instagram accounts, but really, like, you can find me on the Giavanna Wheels. PID Pro Series is a big one. I mean, PID Pro Series is my brand that I work with Austin on. We have awesome products. Like, that's our big thing. We'll be coming out with a bunch of new products this year. Again, if any of you guys have any questions, concerns, product-related issues, whatever, you can reach out to me. Find me online. You can go to pidproseries.com. Just send like a comment, like I have a question, or the contact us link works. You can reach me there. Anybody needs social media help or whatever, I'm more than happy to help. Just send a message to us. You can use the same thing on the Pro Series website. I'll be more than willing to take a look at it, see what you guys need. But yeah, I mean, I'm around.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Adam, dude, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
I want to thank Adam for coming on the podcast today to talk to us for a little bit. If you're looking to purchase Pro Series products, they're available at most distributors, so go check them out. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, and now on iHeartRadio. Till next time, that's a wrap.